So President Biden, who has been vaccinated and was outside and not in a crowd, still wearing a mask before his remarks about loosening mask guidelines today. So let's bring in tonight's panel to see what they make of it. Plus, a look ahead to the president's speech before Congress in less than 24 hours now. We've got Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall, Hoover Institution fellow Lanhee Chen, and Jason in the House podcast host Jason Chaffetz. All right, guys. So some people think that it was confusing and unnecessary for President Biden to be walking out wearing a mask today. Other people thought that he was just setting a good example. So let's just kind of go around the room and see where each of you stand. And Jason, I'll start with you.
Look, I'm glad it happened. It probably should have never been put in place. To walk around outside without a mask seems like common sense. I wish they would address, 2- and 3-year-olds having to wear a mask. I thought that was ridiculous. The worst thing that the president did wasn't just walking out with his mask, but he took his hands and he started wiping his lips with them. Like, that's what you would think you would know at this point. You can't do that, Mr. President.
Lonnie, what do you think?
Yeah, look, my bigger problem with it is that when you have this guidance that basically trails common sense, people have been out there and we've had a long-standing set of studies, and the science has told us that outdoor transmission is less common. The CDC comes through with this guidance now several months later. To people, it just feels like, well, that's what we've been doing all along. And so I think when the guidance trails the reality, it undermines public health and it undermines our ability to have people follow rules when we need them to follow rules.
I mean, Leslie, this is arguably the biggest shift in the CDC's policy since the start of the pandemic. Do you think that it came too little too late?
No, I don't. Being married to a physician, I know you guys get sick of me hearing it. I hear the healthcare worker side of things, okay? And, when they were running out of body bags and, beds in the ICU and we didn't have a vaccine and we still don't have half or more of the people in this country vaccinated that need to be vaccinated, this is when the science shows, once you have the vaccination rate where it is now in our population, safe for the CDC to come out and to say this and for the president to come out. And to that point, when I am dropping my kids off at school and have my mask on, I get in the car and I don't take it off right away. I'm sure there are plenty of people that look at me and say, why, fool, are you wearing your mask in the car? Because I haven't had the chance to take it off yet. I don't think the president was being irresponsible or hypocritical or setting a bad example. I think he was going from indoors to outdoors, and I don't think it's a big deal. And if that's all we have to talk about with President Biden and his administration and his first 100 days, he should be smiling.
Well, and I think so many Americans are just thrilled by this guidance, but it does get a little bit confusing because it is state by state, city by city. I mean, in the District of Columbia, just because President Biden on one end of Pennsylvania Avenue is saying it's okay to do this if you're vaccinated, walk outside without a mask. The city's mayor still hasn't lifted the guidance. So just around here, you can see how it could get a little bit confusing for folks. But I want to turn now to tomorrow night, big night, President Biden's first address to a joint session of Congress. Jason, it's going to look and feel a lot different than previous addresses to Congress. What are you going to be watching for tomorrow night?
Well, the substance is what you're really after, but the theatrics that they're going to put in place in terms of the spacing and how they're wearing masks and do members that have to walk through a metal detector, all of that is really theatrics. And they're not going to have a crowd like they normally have. I've been to 10 of these on the floor of the House of Representatives. I think it's a shame on how they're actually doing it. And I think the expectations of the president are still very low to see if this guy can actually read through a teleprompter in what will likely be a fairly short address, because I just don't think he has the energy to get through it.
Well, in terms of substance, I mean, the White House says that President Biden is really going to be in there to make the case that he wants to raise taxes and that it's right to raise taxes on wealthy Americans and corporations to pay for his, multi-trillion-dollar spending packages. Lonnie, do you think that the White House believes that the American people are behind this? Do you think that they really are? Is Biden reading the moment right?
Well, look, Kristen, I have no doubt the White House thinks that the American people are behind them. They've already spent over $4 trillion, so what's another $2 trillion of spending between friends? I mean, I think that's their perspective. Look, President Biden campaigned on a platform of bipartisanship. He campaigned on a platform of coming together to try to find common ground on issues. And so far, he's governed as an unabashed progressive. He's somebody who's governed based on his own policy priorities. He really hasn't looked to cooperate and work with Republicans all that much. And so I expect tomorrow night we're going to hear more about Democratic and progressive priorities. And I think that makes progressives very pleased. But I think it should make conservatives and independents in this country feel disappointed that we've seen a first 100 days that has fallen a lot short of the promise of the campaign that he articulated.
Well, Lonnie, Jason, Leslie, I know we're all going to be watching it tomorrow night, and we'll be here as well. Thanks so much.